Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
On Monday, October 22nd, we learned that Joseph NOI, better known as WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, has been battling leukemia for the past 11 years. We, here at Off the Chest of Timothy Regal, recorded this episode before we knew about Mr. NOI's condition, and we just wanted to say that we wish him the best in his recovery, and we hope to see him again soon. Enjoy the episode. That's right, Regal. And what a great episode it's going to be. How the heck are you, Regal? Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's going to be a great episode.
You did not start recording already. God damn you.
Oh. No, you talked. You did the open.
I'm not in the room.
Oh, I thought our audio just wasn't working. I thought it was NWA 70.
Wow. Folks, welcome to episode 89 of Off the Chest of Timothy Regal, a show that is guaranteed to have better audio quality than the start of the NWA 70th anniversary pay-per-view.
That doesn't mean you're going to want to listen to it.
Well, you know, hopefully you're going to want, if you're listening to it, that means you hopefully want to.
Yeah. All right, so, so we had the big, is this all we're going to talk about this week?
We might talk a little bit of something else, but I think we should definitely start.
I just don't want to do a fucking review show, because those are boring.
Doug Ritter will be on.
We're not John and Way.
We're not John. Well, no, we're not nearly as good as John and Way. But we're gonna have Doug Ritter joining us here shortly.
Gimmicks that we have to rely on to get people to listen to this bullshit.
You never know who might pop their heads in for this show. You know, we've been known to have some NWA legends join the podcast. So
like Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer was not an NWA legend. Well, World Class was in the NWA, so...
Yeah, that's right.
Technically, I guess you could say that he was.
Percy Pringle.
Nah... What else is going on in wrestling besides the NWA 70th anniversary? Should we talk about... We should talk a little... I guess we should talk a little bit about Wicked Ways last night, while we're waiting for our guest. We had a great night last night.
Yeah.
Dude, the Suge and one Dante Leone absolutely tore the house down.
They did.
I couldn't talk after the show.
If only you couldn't have talked during the show. It would have been the greatest SCW show of all time.
That is not true. You would have been very mad at me if I couldn't talk during the show.
Well, I mean, you know, sometimes I need you to talk so I can, like, take a drink or talk to somebody or go find out a detail about something and you just stare at me.
That is true. Why are you burying me on my own podcast, brother?
Why do you have me on a podcast if you don't want me to tell the truth?
Why are you burying me, dude?
I'm just telling the truth.
No, you're not. You're lying to people.
No, I'm not lying.
You're lying to our listeners.
You're lying.
You are lying to our listeners.
You're lying.
You're burying me. You're not putting me over like you're supposed to.
I quit.
Remember when we started and you thought I was this big deal when you did a podcast with me?
God damn it, how wrong I was.
And you wanted to put me over and... man, how the times have changed. Now all you do is bury me to the people.
I just tell the truth, Regal.
You tell the people lies about me.
I tell the truth.
You do horrible impressions of me.
The whole truth. My impression of you is better than what you actually sound like, so shut the hell up.
Your impression of me sounds like a drunk Mickey Mouse.
Well, maybe you shouldn't drink so much.
I had one beer yesterday.
You had a beer yesterday?
Yes, I did. Had a beer yesterday.
How many yogas did you do?
2.
When did you have a beer?
At intermission.
You drank during the show?
I had a beer during intermission.
You worked drunk?
No, I had one beer.
That's illegal.
The only
Regal, I know it only takes one beer for you to be wasted.
Again, you are telling people lies.
That was a lie. He can absorb quite a bit of alcohol.
The only time I think I've ever really gotten buzzed during a show in the last few years was probably, I think the second TLC match at Wildwood. I had quite a few Busch Lights the night of Hawkamania 2.
Was that when they had the like $3 Busch Lights?
Yeah,
and that's apparently a deal.
I'm looking forward to that this Saturday night.
Yeah, we'll be back in Wildwood. There's not going to be a TLC match to my knowledge.
But we got Pat Anger coming in.
Yeah.
The former Iowa Hawkeye, former Indianapolis Colt.
Yeah.
You know he sacked Tom Brady?
Cool. What does that mean?
He sacked Tom Brady. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I like anybody sacks Tom Brady.
Did anybody sack Tom Brady today?
A few guys did. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. The Bears lost. One of the few times in the world I will actually cheer for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah?
Because, ever F the New England Patriots.
Wow.
Nobody likes the Patriots. Find me a person that likes the New England Patriots. Seriously.
I'm sure there are people that like the New England Patriots, Regal.
I don't like those people, so...
You know what kind... New England Patriot fans, there's only one type of fan worse than a New England Patriot fan.
Cowboy fan?
Packer fan.
Wrong.
Packer fans are the absolute worst. Like, literally,
Alex,
okay.
Alex,
No. Stop.
Alex, it's me.
Stop.
It's the president.
Shh. Stop.
President Trump.
No, we're not doing that.
Wrong.
Stop it.
Wrong.
Stop it. No, literally.
Wrong.
I legitimately, like my family, I grew up in a house of, my mother married into a house of Wisconsin sports fans. I can be happy to see the Badgers do well. I can be happy to see the Brewers do well. You could not pay me to root for the Packers because they have the most insufferable fans. You would have thought it was like 1996 lasted for like 10 years and they still talked about, whoever won the Super Bowl. Well, in 1996, Packers fan thought it was 1996 for about 10 years. And talking about how great Brett Favre was and how great, and now they got the other guy, Mr. Rogers.
Hey, Alex.
Who faked an injury and then went into the locker room and got high because that's the only way he could beat Khalil Mack.
Hey, Alex.
What?
You know what the difference is between Marty McFly and a Chicago Bears fan?
Are you going to tell a stupid joke while I'm out here telling the truth?
Eventually, Marty McFly quit going back to 1985.
Wow. You're hilarious.
But, enough...
Packers still left in 1996.
We got to talk about wrestling. This is a wrestling podcast.
We have to talk about wrestling?
It's a wrestling podcast.
I want to talk about Power Rangers. I want to talk about football. I want to talk about...
we need to just start doing like a non-wrestling podcast on the Slam Fam Network where me and you just talk about whatever the fuck we feel like.
I want to talk about sitcoms. What are your thoughts on... Ooh, have you watched Manifest yet?
I watched every episode of Manifest.
Okay, well I thought you were behind on one.
No, I watched that on
You're
Tuesday
caught up
morning.
now?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like the show.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
I can't figure out what the hell's going on. It's kind of like Lost, which is a good thing for me. So.
Lost. That's what you're going to title your autobiography, isn't it? Lost, the Timothy Regal story.
No, I'm going to title it How I Won My Life. Because I'm winning at life these days, man.
Yeah, you are. You really are. I'll take a moment to put over Regal. We went for a walk today. He willingly went for a walk with me.
Damn right I did.
We went about 2 blocks.
We caught some Pokemon. We've got to catch them all. That's our mission in life, to catch them all. We got back just in time for the NWA 70th anniversary show.
Absolutely we did, and we got to see a pretty good show.
Dude, like I said, I tweeted this out. I said, the biggest thing you have to realize in 2018 is that the National Wrestling Alliance, the greatest entity in the history of professional wrestling, is back, and it's better than ever. The show tonight, obviously we've already made a couple jokes about the audio, and there was a lot of jokes you can make about it. There were some audio issues. There were some issues with some of the pre-tape promos. There were definitely some production issues, which they will iron out. This essentially was the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance as we know it now, ran by Billy Corgan and Dave Lagana. This was their first live show.
Right.
So there were some issues.
Yeah.
But it definitely looked cool. It looked unique. It looked old school. The wrestling felt old school with a
old school
with a little new school flavor. I mean, I don't think Lou Fez ever did a shooting star press from the top rope to the floor.
No.
But the guys did wrestling in the ring was top notch. I felt they brought in the best guy, the best free agent guys they could get.
And Sammy Guevara.
Dude, I'll say this, because from his match, he did some great shit. He did some cool shit. And as much as I don't like Sammy, because he's a piece of crap human being from stories I've heard. Now, granted, I've never met this guy.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I've been vocal about that. I have never met this guy. But I have heard more horrible stories about Sammy Guevara than I have probably anybody else in independent wrestling.
Really?
The only person I think might be a bigger asshole than Sammy Guevara is probably Austin Aries.
Yeah, that's the name that comes up.
But no, the action in the ring was top notch.
Very good.
Like I said,
some interesting booking decisions.
Interesting booking decisions, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But no, I think the biggest thing to realize is that Dave Lagana, and Billy Corgan definitely put on a great in-ring product for their first show, and I think that's the most important thing.
I know I've asked you this before, but did you ever listen to Dave Lagana's podcast?
I did not.
I've been a Dave Lagana fan for probably... Will you get that image off my TV screen? Because otherwise it's going to freeze in.
Okay.
It's going to get stuck like that. I've been a Dave Lagana fan. I listened to his podcast, which was Creative Has Nothing For You. No, what? Formerly Creative.
Okay.
Yeah, Formerly Creative, I think is what it was called. And, or was that the one on MLW?
Either way.
Either way, yeah. I've been a Dave Lagana fan for quite some time, and he's a very smart guy in the business, and I talked to him at the Hall of Fame this year in Waterloo, and I'm really excited for him being in charge of production for a company, seeing him back in wrestling with Billy Corgan. What the hell is that?
That's Seth Rollins is calling. No, just kidding.
He doesn't call you unless he wants money.
And joining us on the line now, ladies and gentlemen, direct from the TNA Asylum, the Nashville Fairgrounds in Nashville, Douglas Ritter, our good friend, you've heard him on the podcast before, Doug Ritter. Douglas, you were in the front row tonight, man. First off, what do you think of the show overall?
It sounds like there's a lot of pay-per-view problems, but there's a lot of problems with the live event as well. Just the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing quite a bit from what I could tell.
Well, like we've kind of been talking for a few minutes before you called in. I said as there were some production issues, but as far as I thought the action in the ring was top notch.
Yeah, the main event was spectacular.
Yeah, main event. Just throw something out there. I don't know. Yeah.
What? Hi, Doug. I was in the middle of a thought, and Regal just interrupted me, so...
Well, Doug was called. I had to get him on the line.
Well, you could have let me finish my thought. I don't even remember what we were talking about now. I'm so flustered.
You were talking about Lagana's podcast.
Oh, did you ever listen to Lagana's podcast, Doug?
No.
Oh, anyways, I really liked it, and I'm excited to see Dave and Billy. I think what they're doing is really unique. I think the production problems are a big fault for them, because really the way that they've established themselves in the last year is with these 10 pounds of gold YouTube videos. And so the fact that their biggest downfall tonight, other than a few questionable booking decisions, in my opinion, was production. That kind of leaves things questionable. I will say I think they got it figured out by, well, far too late, but I would say about a little over halfway through the show, they seem to have had it figured out.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I think the big thing is that this was their first attempt at going live. I think with time, the product will get better.
Right, but my biggest point is like, if this was a brand new promotion, if they hadn't done the YouTube videos or anything, and they just said, "Hey guys, the NWA is back and we're having a show," then those things would be a lot more excusable. But the thing is, the way that they've re-engaged their audience is through production and through these videos, and the fact that there was no audio for half of these videos tonight that they showed, to me, that's a much bigger problem. That's not as easily excusable as, oh, it was their first time, because they've shown their ability in the production side. So when you rely on those videos to establish yourselves and those videos don't work on your live show, I think that's a huge problem.
But
what do you think, Douglas?
Yeah, see, we didn't get to see any of the videos live. They didn't even show anything. They had kind of a Jumbotron type thing, but they never actually had anything other than the NWA logo on it.
yeah, I thought that was kind of weird that they didn't even attempt to show the videos inside the arena. So you guys were just kind of sitting around between matches.
I didn't realize that. I just assumed that whatever was on our screen, they were showing you on that one. That's very frustrating.
So we had 5 to 10 minute segments where there was just nothing going on.
Well, to me, if it makes you feel any better, we could see things, but we couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
No, I take that back. Sometimes we could hear the production truck and the ring announcer talking to you guys, or Cornette cussing.
Yeah. I hope you get a chance to go back and watch this, Douglas, because I will tell you, Jim Cornette was on fire.
I thought he was good. There were a couple of comments, and this is just probably a generational difference between Regal and myself, where I thought he was a little bit off color, and obviously those were some of Regal's favorite lines. But there were some things where I thought, really, you're going to say that in 2018, Cornette? And those were some of Regal's favorites, so that's a generational gap, I guess.
But Douglas, you were actually there for the pre-show Fan Fest. You sent me some great pictures. Anything cool come out of that you got any good stories from that to tell?
Just I know Cody was talking to some fans and all but guaranteed about All In 2, which sounds like it'll probably be in May.
Yeah.
And then they were talking about the big announcement that was coming tonight, which was obviously the return of the Crockett Cup.
Which Alex can confirm for you, I pretty much popped huge because I literally over this weekend I was watching 88 Crockett and
you tweeted about the Crockett Cup today.
The week because I'm watching the episodes that were around Crockett Cup weekend of 88 Crockett TV, and I said the weird thing is that's a thing that is not on the WWE Network for whatever reason, and I would love, and I tweeted this out. I said I would love if they would put the unedited, full, complete shows of the Crockett Cup on the network, because the only thing I've ever seen is the commercial tape versions, which have a lot of the early round matches clipped or completely cut out of the show entirely. Because they cut the tape down for a 2.5 hour time frame. I am super excited to see who the NWA brings in, and hopefully they do it like an old school Crockett Cup. You could see, Kojima and Tenzan coming from Japan. You could see Josh Alexander and Ethan Page come from Canada, representing Canada. You could see Shima and T-Hawk represent China. You could you're gonna have the. I always want to. What are Crimson and Jax Dane, Douglas?
The War Kings.
War Kings. I always want to say War Raiders. Because it's so similar. I think Alex has a new favorite wrestler, and his name is Jax Dane.
No, I didn't like him that much.
He was like, Jesus, this guy's huge.
I didn't say that.
Alex likes his huge men.
Why are you making things up?
You've been making things up about me on this podcast for over a year. Did you now you met Jim Cornette? I got two questions. A, did you take him any Wendy's? And B, did you tell him that you're a close personal friend of Merrick Brave and Seth Rollins?
No, unlike some people I know, I don't wear the whole Black and the Brave thing on my sleeve. I can kind of get over on my own.
Wow. But
no, okay. I have a question for you, Doug. As a former NWA promoter, how did it feel to be a part of the? Did you drop that at all? That you used to be an NWA promoter?
One of the guys I'd actually been in line with for the Tony Schiavone and Jim Cornette thing actually used to cover NWA back in the 90s, or in the 2000s, that we kind of talked about. You remember, he actually covered NWA No Limits back in the day, so it's kind of cool talking to him. But he came from LA. One of the other guys in line came from Charlotte. I saw a couple people from Australia. It just really impressed me that people were willing to travel from all over the world for this event.
And you were not even the only, obviously. How far away from the building do you actually live now?
It's going to take me about 20 minutes to get home.
Okay, so you live about 20 minutes from the building, but you are actually not the only native Iowan that was in the building, as ICW owner David Anderson was there tonight. So obviously some people definitely did fly in for this. The cool thing for Douglas is he's now been at both of the Cody versus Nick Aldis NWA title matches.
So if they do a third one in England, are you going, Doug?
I honestly can have a feeling we're going to see the third one, the G1 special at MSG.
You think that's the match? You think that's a match at G1?
I think that's going to be like some sort of a cage match or just some sort of gimmick. I think that's going to headline it.
I know our all-in sweet mate Jason Thomas kind of predicted the same thing on my Twitter timeline already. So a lot of people kind of seem to be leaning that way. Or if they really wanted to, they could wait and pop the show for the Crockett Cup show, which, like I've said, if that's at the Asylum, I'm hopping on I don't know about Alex, but I'm hopping on a bus. Because
It'll depend on the time of year and the day and the.
I'm super excited to see the return of the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Tag Team Tournament. Now, obviously, like I said, you were in the front row. I mean, we'll start at the main event. I mean,
why wouldn't we start at the beginning of the show?
Well, I mean, we'll do it voice the wrestling style. I want to start at the main event because I think there's a lot to get to here. Obviously, shocking finish. Cody loses the belt. I did not see that coming. I don't think anybody saw that coming. And Douglas, it looked to me like on TV the crowd just deflated.
Yeah, it was just kind of like the ending was anticlimactic. It was just kind of go, 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 roll up, and it's kind of, huh? Well,
I think one of the things I saw somebody actually point this out. That's an old school NWA style finish.
Yeah.
Go, 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 and then a roll up finish. I think that's, and I think I even immediately said bullshit, and Alex said, the money's in the chase. The money's in the third match. So whether it's G1 Supercard or whether it's at the Crockett Cup or possibly at an All In 2, that's definitely a match that's going to pop the house.
Yeah.
We won't go through the full card, but what was your? I mean, outside the main event, what did you really like?
I did like the Samuel Shaw and Willie Mack. I wasn't a huge fan of Sam Shaw going into this, but for being a big guy, he proved he could work, in my opinion, tonight.
Yeah. Also, Sam Shaw. Is that not the greatest? What was the live feeling? Is that not the greatest porn stash you've ever seen in your life?
Oh yeah. That match was just weird with them setting up the stuff with Brad Bradley and James Ellsworth earlier in the show, and then it went nowhere.
See, that's the thing.
That just kind of puzzled me a little bit.
They actually on the broadcast said that they had been thrown out of the building.
Ah, okay.
So I'm guessing that's going to set up.
That was kind of a problem where the fans in the live audience didn't know exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
I've got a theory on that. Is one thing that Regal mentioned is during Laredo Kid and Barrett Brown, he had mentioned that you had sent him a text that the referee was giving them the go-home cue. I wonder how many things were cut due to possibly the show being over time, and maybe there was some stuff planned with Ellsworth and Jay Bradley, and when they realized that they were over time, they decided that it'd just be easier to cut that instead of trying to fit 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Now, one of my favorite things, the end of the women's title match. Jazz and
how did the finish come off on the at home?
The Earl thing, like, it literally looked like Earl fucked up, because it literally looked like Penelope did not kick out, and he just, like,
Penelope
fucking...
did not move at all, and it was just kind of everybody's going, what? Huh?
Well, also, people are saying on... Did you see... So, I saw some people on Twitter saying Penelope had to be helped to the back.
Not that I think she was just kind of selling that.
Okay, because I was wondering if maybe Penelope got her bell rung, and maybe that's kind of what messed them up. But no, I thought the match was great. Jazz, for being semi-retired and as much of a veteran as she is, holy crap, she beat the living hell out of Penelope Ford.
How often does she live in that area, Doug? Is she on shows down there a lot?
She's been on shows a couple of times down here. I think she lives like down New Orleans or Alabama, kind of, so within driving distance from here.
Okay, I just wonder because I never see her on anything, so I didn't know how often she was still working. I mean, obviously NWA Women's World Champion. Where do you, and maybe you know this, or maybe Regal does. Where is that based out of? Where is that mainly defended out of?
I think now it's based out of L.A.
Well, yeah, because really Billy and Dave kind of own it, but the only active NWA promotion that I know of is Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. There is a Championship Wrestling from Arizona as well.
Is that an NWA affiliate? I believe it's owned by Dave Marquez, isn't it?
Yeah. Which his son was the manager of Barrett Brown.
Yes.
So,
no, Peter Avalon.
Peter Avalon. No, that's... So, it is interesting to see, and I'm really interested to see going forward. Obviously, they're kind of working with Ring of Honor. They're kind of doing stuff with other companies. Are we going to see more NWA affiliate companies pop up, and what is the process of that? Obviously... Alex, you, myself, Douglas, we've all talked about this. We're really hoping that the NWA can develop a presence at the George Tragos Luthez Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
I flat out told Lagana last year, I said, there needs to be an NWA title match here next year.
And, maybe it's not the world title, maybe it's the new national title, maybe it's something like that. But yeah, the NWA absolutely 100% should have some form of a presence at the Tragos Luthez Hall of Fame weekend.
Absolutely.
Because it's Waterloo, Iowa. This is the place where the NWA began. We've seen it on 10 Pounds of Gold, where they actually went through the hotel where the first meeting took place. So I think that is a huge thing going forward. Obviously, the Crockett Cup's on the schedule. Championship Wrestling.
What do you think is a realistic, engaging schedule for the NWA in 2019?
Well, obviously they have Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which you can watch for free on Fight TV.
But I'm saying, like, in terms of a show like tonight, an NWA branded show, do they just run the Crockett Cup and anniversary and all their other stuff is done on?
No, I think you could see 3 or 4 of these a year. I think you do the Crockett Cup.
The problem is with WWE owning the rights to a lot of the names of the old Starrcade and stuff like that. That is going to be the one thing that kind of hurts, I think.
Yeah, because WWE owns the trademark Starrcade. They trademarked Halloween Havoc.
Halloween Havoc was never an NWA show. That was
it was WCW.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Halloween Havoc started in '89, so the first one was an NWA show.
Okay.
WCW.
Either way, I still associate the brand of Halloween Havoc with WCW and not the NWA.
Starrcade, Crockett Cup. Do they own the Bunkhouse Stampede trademark?
I have no idea.
They might still own that.
Because I'd be okay with seeing a Bunkhouse Stampede type show for the NWA.
They obviously don't own the trademark to War Games.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because they still use it.
You'd think WWE would have tried to trademark War Games, but they haven't. No, and I'm interested to see how many shows they do in 2019 as far as like pay-per-views. Obviously, you still have Championship Wrestling from Hollywood as a weekly TV show.
Right, but to me, Corgan and Lagana aren't booking that. I think if they call Dave Marquez and say, "Hey, this is what we want to do on your show," he's going to say okay. But I don't ever see that being perceived as
an NWA,
a regular NWA weekly show.
Well, I mean, and getting weekly TV you'd think would be the ultimate goal. But again,
I don't think it is. If you listen to Lagana, if you listen to him talk, the brand exists outside of the old school wrestling mantra. I don't think I don't know that that's on the radar, honestly.
I mean, and we talked about the problem is that there's still not a lot of TV not a lot of TV people that are banging somebody's door down looking for professional wrestling unless you're the WWE.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see where they kind of go in 2019. Obviously, and I'll just throw this out there. There's been some news that there may be a new player in the game in 2019 with some big names attached to it.